Greetings all, I'm Bill Vencil, this is Chords of Orion, and I have been getting requests recently to walk through how I create ambient guitar pieces. And in addition, Meze Audio also sent me these really cool headphones, the 99 Classics, so I thought I would do this video to walk you through my process while using headphones. Let's get to work. So why do this walkthrough with headphones anyway, other than Meze Audio sending me these headphones? Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. One is if you're in a small living space, doing your work, recording and mixing on headphones can be extremely beneficial so as not to disturb your neighbors or other household members. Number two, most people are listening to music on headphones or earbuds or AirPods or what have you these days, things in their ears, and I think it's really helpful to at least double check your mixes, if nothing else, in headphones to make sure they sound good. Now these Meze Audio 99 Classics are pretty cool. They've got a nice long cable, which is really great for recording. I'm standing like 6 feet away from my audio interface, so I can plug it in really, easily and still be able to work with it. And they sound great. I love the high end. It's kind of silky and smooth. All right, enough of the headphones for now. Let's get down to the music itself. Where I am starting with the whole thing is the guitar. This is a PRS baritone guitar. If you don't play baritone, just kind of imagine this is your guitar instead of mine. And next up are the pedals that I'm going to use for this particular piece. These are kind of representative of the things that I personally like to use. So as you're looking at the pedal board from the side where I'm plugged in to the other side, I'm first going into a TC Electronic tuner, and then I'm going into a Strymon Compadre compressor to kind of control the dynamics of the guitar. I'm then going into a Strymon Riverside overdrive. I really love that overdrive a lot. And from there, I'm going into a Strymon Iridium amp modeler. And this is something that I should mention to all of you. I don't normally record with amplifiers anymore. I used to for many, many years, but I don't do that very much anymore. I prefer to use amp modelers. Again, I can plug them right into my audio interface through the line inputs, and I don't have to worry about having to get a loud volume to kind of get the tone I want. All right, from the Iridium, I'm going into my volume pedal. This is an old Morley Little Alligator volume pedal. It's not made anymore. If you find one used, I would definitely recommend picking it up. They sound great, they feel great, they're just awesome. And this one's about 20 years old, believe it or not. Lastly, I'm going into a TC Electronic Flashback triple delay. And I've got two different kinds of delays going on here. Let me just show them to you real quick. Here's my dry tone with no delay. Okay, and I've got two delays going on. Delay number one, delay number two, they're in serial mode. So delay number one feeds into delay number two. I'm going to turn on delay number two first because that's the shortest delay. Here's what that sounds like. And as you can hear, it is a stereo delay. I've got a quarter plus a dotted eighth subdivision going, so it kind of bounces back and forth. It's TC Electronics modulating 2290 delay. Okay, I like it a lot. Now let's go to delay number one, and this is where the looping comes in. I'm going to do a form of looping called Frippertronics. And in order to do that, I am using the TC Electronics tape style delay, and I've set it to the longest delay time, which is 7 seconds. So let me go ahead and turn that on, and we'll listen to what that sounds like. Wait for it. And you can hear that's a pretty long delay. It's 7 seconds, in fact. and I've got a fair amount of feedback, so this loop will continue to sound out for a bit. And you probably are looking at my foot now. Hopefully I've got it down there, and you can see that I'm using volume pedal swells as I play single lead notes. Let me add a few more in. I like that a lot. Now, let me go ahead and turn on that second delay. And hear how it widens out. We get a little stereo imaging going on. Now, from that TC Electronic flashback triple delay, as you can see, there are two outputs, left and right, and literally they're going straight into my audio interface, into two of the line inputs. So if you want to do the same thing, just make sure you've got an audio interface with both maybe microphone and line inputs, but definitely use the line in, not the microphone. Now, what I'm going to do at this point is just continue to play and create these looping layers that are, I just love them. Here we go. All right, everybody, I've captured the audio performance, and I'm a Mac guy, so I'm using Logic Pro as my recording software. You can use whatever you wish. GarageBand works great if you're on a Mac, if you want a free option. If you're on Windows, I am particularly fond of Reaper as an awesome recording option. Anyhow, in any case, I still have the headphones on. I'm going to go ahead and do this mix with these Meze Audio 99 Classics because they work really well for mixing. And oh, by the way, I showed you a really long cable. Well, if you're out and about, these actually come with a shorter cable with a built-in microphone if you want to use them with your smartphone or smart device. Kind of nice. Anyhow, so I'll be leaving these on as I go through the mix. So first up, let's take just a listen for a few seconds to what I've captured just so you can confirm what it is. All right, the first thing I want to do as I think about this recording is kind of think about the stereo image. And whether you're mixing in headphones or with stereo monitors, especially with ambient sounds where there's a lot of washy delays and reverbs, you want to be thinking about your stereo image. So the first thing I would suggest is to put your mix into mono mode. And depending on the recording software you're using, there might be a button or a switch. With Logic Pro, there is a plugin called Direction Mixer, and I can just set that to turn stereo to mono. So let me go, this is enabled now. Let's listen to this mix in mono. All right, that still works pretty well because the main guitar tone is right down the center, and that tape delay type from the TC Electronic Flashback triple delay is in fact a mono delay. I did not set it to stereo mode. I'll listen to that again. So as I turn the direction mixer on and off, the only thing that you hear different is the short stereo delay kind of collapses into the middle. That's not bad. Now, what I will do is check this from time to time as I'm conducting the mix to make sure that I don't lose that center channel coherence. I want the mix to make sense even if it's in mono. All right, first up, and to that point, first up is that we're going to add some EQ to this guitar tone. To me, it's a little woofy sounding, so I want to control the mids a little bit on this. So to that end, I actually fired up 2 Logic Pro EQs. And this is where it gets kind of fun. I've set one EQ to side only. This is one of the great things about this particular stock plugin. You can EQ just the left and right side and nothing in the middle. And of course, as you can imagine, the other EQ is set to mid only. So let me go ahead and turn the gain down on the sides, and then let me flip back to the mids, and just let's listen to the mids. And I'm going to focus kind of in this 100 to, 400 or 500 hertz range. And let's see if we can find out where that kind of muddiness is. So I think it's going to be right around in that 200 range. I don't need the EQ band quite as wide, so I'm going to make it a little bit narrower. But let me go ahead and bring that down and see if we can clean it up a little bit. Yeah, that's not bad. Let me bypass that. I like that. Now, let's get just a little more highs in there. I'm going to do a high shelf. As you can see, I don't have a lot of high range content, much above, about 6K or so. But this high shelf is going to bring out whatever is really kind of down there low and just kind of brighten up the tone a little bit. All right, so this is the mids. Let's go to the sides. So I'll bring the mid down, and let me flip to the side EQ and bring that back up so we can hear it. Now, what are we listening to? Let's check this out. All right, so I've still got the mono plugin on, and that's knocking out almost all of the sound. So let's turn that off so we're back in stereo, and let's see what we get. And almost all of that, what you're hearing is that second delay from the flashback triple delay. So let's see what we can do with that. It does sound a little muddy, so I want to work with this a little bit too. I kind of like that. Let's see what that sounds like with the mids back in. Here we go. Now let's collapse that back to mono and see what we get. Back to mono. I'm liking that a lot. I really like that balance. Now, one thing I can do if you're splitting mid and side separately, with these plugins, you can control the relative level of mids and sides. Now, if you're not using Logic Pro, don't despair. There are many different options. There's a lot of different plugins that treat the mid and side separately. So look at your recording software, whatever you have. You'll probably find a plugin that does something similar to this. What I'm going to do is raise the side volume up in relationship to the mids. Let's check this out. Now we're back in stereo. Now, did you hear what happened? If you have headphones like I do, you heard the side volume increase by 6 dB. 6 dB, yeah, pretty cool. Let me collapse that back to mono, and let's see what we sound like. Now, I'm going to bring this down just a little bit because one thing I don't like when I collapse it to mono, the volume kind of drops. If you're listening on headphones, you'll probably hear it. So while I like the sides higher, I'm going to bring that down maybe to about 4.5 dB. Great. Okay. We've got our EQ in place. I'm feeling pretty good about the stereo image so far, but I want to add a little compression just to control the dynamics. Now, this is not a very dynamic piece, right? They're all volume swells, but it is helpful to add a little bit of compression just to bring those peaks down just a little bit. So let's focus in on this. Okay, so here's a compressor. This is the stock Logic compressor. Okay, I like that. We just have a few dBs of compression there. You probably saw the gain reduction meter go up to about 3 or 4, and it just kind of shaves off that peak just a little bit. Nice. Now, next up is I want to get this more ambient-ish. So I'm going to use another plugin. I've used this plugin several times on this channel. It's the Valhalla DSP Valhalla Space Modulator. I highly recommend that you go out and get this plugin. It is free. It works on Windows and Mac, and it sounds great. It adds wonderful kind of reverb, modulation, delay types of effects. There's a bug in here, get out of here, and it sounds really great. So once you download it, here's what I want you to do, just to play around with it. Do what I do. Go down to the reverbs presets, set echo space, select echo space of Odin, and you're going to be at 52.8. It's way too much, but it is glorious. Here we go. I told you that was too much, didn't I? I got to bring it down. I normally bring it down to 13, 14% maybe. Let's try that. Isn't that great? Now, we've added a lot of information, stereo information to the mix. So again, if you're wearing headphones like me, maybe you've got the Meze Audio 99 Classics. If you do, you're hearing lots of information to the right and to the left, and we need to collapse it back down to mono now to make sure that it still makes sense. So let's do that. Isn't that nice? Yeah, it's really great. All right, I've got pretty much everything in place for this particular mix. I don't really want to do too much more than that. I want to keep it simple because really the highlight of this particular piece is the looping 7-second delay off of the TC Electronic flashback triple delay. But I will add one more thing, and that is going to be a tape deck simulation plugin. And for this, I'm going to use another free plugin. It's by Chow DSP. I've talked about this before. This is the Chow tape model. I will link it in the video description below. And again, I would definitely recommend you get it. It's free. It runs on Mac and Windows. Sounds really great. And it does a good job of simulating a reel-to-reel tape deck. The first one, TC260. See what we get. Now, let me do that again. There's a definite difference, right? So here's without. With. Yeah, that's a big difference, isn't it? That's because this tape plugin is adding a little bit of drive and saturation to the tone. Let me bring this up and you'll hear that it gets out of hand. Yeah, so too much is too much, but just enough really adds a nice depth to the overall mix. You can, with these types of plugins too, you can also adjust things like the flutter, which is almost a chorusing kind of effect. So again, if you adjust it correctly, you don't necessarily perceive it as a chorus or a vibrato or anything like that. It just kind of adds movement into the tone. Well, there you have it. This is my basic process for creating an ambient guitar piece, whether it's Frippertronics or chords or melodies, whatever it might be. These are kind of the basics of what I do. And definitely, if you're in the market for headphones, definitely think about these Meze Audio 99 Classics. They work really well. They sound great. And even if you decide on another headphone brand, another model, it's definitely worth spending some time mixing with headphones so that you can understand one dimension of how folks are going to listen to your music. So I've got a playlist of other ambient guitar recording techniques, and I'll see all of you on the next video.